Hello everyone, today we'll be making Tonkotsu ramen with cashew pork, marinated eggs and enoki mushrooms. Keeping it as original as we can, this recipe took around 16 hours and even more if you include the search for the ingredients. Ramen, let's go guys. I bought everything, was really full of events. My car broke down, I have to cross like a lot of hills, so my engine overheated, but it was so worth it. Like today, I already feel this ramen is gonna be amazing and we're gonna have so much fun making it, and I guess you guys will see one of my best videos yet. The one I spent the most money on. For me, it's worth it because every wannabe chef or cook should at least once make ramen from scratch because it's a dish full of love. It's very hard to get it right. When you do, it's really fulfilling and makes you feel really good. And yeah, let's get cooking. Because we are making tonkotsu ramen, which means pork bones ramen, we will start by boiling 4 halves of pork feet. We need to boil them before we can start the broth to remove impurities and dirt. Start with cold water, and after the water starts to boil, leave them be for around 2 minutes. After that, we'll wash the pork legs with cold water to make them very clean. I gotta say that it's nice to use this cut of pork, which is usually forgotten in Western countries. This way we can reduce food waste and use the whole animal. Now for the broth, we need 1 whole onion, around 60 to 80 grams of ginger, depending on how strong it is. For garlic cloves, 100 grams of shiitake mushrooms. The onion will just cut into quarters, and for the ginger, the best way to peel it is with a spoon. This way you barely lose any roots and have much more control than with a normal peeler. Into a big pot, you will add the pork feet along with some chicken wings. These will add a lot more fat, but most importantly collagen, which we need to obtain a nice and thick broth. We'll drop in all the veggies and cover everything in water. It's best to fill the pot with water because you will have to add more anyway. We will add just a bit of salt to taste the liquid now and then, but not a lot because by the end it will have to reduce to more than half and it might be too salty. Now for the fun part, while the bones do their thing, we can start with the pork cashew. This is one of the best Japanese inventions, a perfect balance between sweet, sour, salty, umami and fat that can be crunchy while still soft inside. I could glaze this pork belly roll all day long and it would deserve all the praise, but let's get it started with. Because we don't have a vacuum machine or a sous vide machine, we will have to improvise. To get the nice shape, we will lay out the pork belly with the skin touching the cutting board and start rolling it very tight. Then we can take out the butcher's twine, and please do not use any kind of string you find in the garage if you don't want to get food poisoning. It's very easy to tie it up. We will just cut a piece to make the first knot or circle in the middle of the roll so it holds its shape. Then we will cut a bigger piece of string, make another knot on either one of the ends, making sure to leave enough twine so it can go through the middle one, and make another knot at the other end. Now it will have a nice shape at the end of the cooking and it will not come apart. To imitate sous vide cooking, we will place it in a Ziploc bag and add inside 4 cloves of garlic, half an onion, some dark soy sauce, and this is very important, needs to be dark soy sauce. Then we'll add some normal soy sauce, mirin for some acidity and sweetness, and some salt. Now we'll shake well to mix everything and cover all the parts of the roll. It's pretty easy to do it in the bag, but I also mixed it with my hands to make sure the pork will be well marinated. Now for the very disgusting and not food safety part, we have to suck all of the air out. I'll be honest, some of the liquid got into my mouth at one point and it was really bad, but we got the job done at the end. Who needs a vacuum machine when you can suck the air out yourself like a real chef? We will let it cook at 60 to 70 degrees Celsius for around 6 to 8 hours to make sure it will be extra soft at the end. Coming back to the broth, we can see that it changed color a little bit, which means that it started to extract the flavor from the bones. We'll clean off all of the white scum and let it boil for another few hours. Now for the marinated eggs, we just need to boil them so the white part is hard while the yolk is completely runny and creamy inside. We'll cook them for around 5 to 6 minutes in boiling water, but the best way to get a good result would be to make your test with 1 egg to find the best time, because the freshness along with the size of the egg matters a lot. Also keep in mind that by adding a lot of eggs into boiling water, you will change the temperature, so you might need to boil them for around 30 more seconds. For the marinade, we'll add some dark soy sauce, normal soy sauce and mirin. We'll peel the eggs, add them to the bowl and place some paper towels on top soaked in the marinade so our eggs will not have any white spots. Now in the fridge they go. For the soul of our ramen, we need to make the tare, which is the flavor base alongside the pork broth. To make this, we will add in a pot with cold water dry kombu, which is a seaweed, dry mushrooms and bonito flakes, which are dried fish cut very thinly. We will let them simmer on medium to low heat until all the flavor is extracted. Then we will strain this liquid, making sure to not lose any of it, and then put it back on the fire on very low heat, adding the miso paste and the soy sauce. We do not want to add the miso paste straight into a boiling liquid because it will kill all of the healthy bacteria inside it and break the soup, like how you can break a mayo. We'll mix it nicely and then store it in the fridge. Now I have to say that I am a very big Uncle Roger fan, and I could not forget about the aroma oil. It goes on top of the ramen to give it some flavor. And because I love spicy food, I decided to make a spicy oil with Chinese chilies because why not? To be honest, I didn't know how to do it, so I just did what I saw on TikTok. First I tried to blend the chilies but failed miserably and I had to improvise a food processor. Then I got some oil to the boiling point and put it straight over the chilies in a glass container. I know that I'm not the smartest person alive, but hey, it didn't explode and nobody got hot that day, so I count that as a win. The oil looked good actually at the end, and the taste was very unique compared to anything that I tasted before. It was also a bit bitter, maybe because I burned a bit of the chili, but it's okay. Now back to our pork broth, and we can see that the color got nice after 10 hours of consistently boiling on low to medium heat, adding water all the time. This is the color that we want, and now the only thing we can do is reduce so we get the consistency that we want. It's also very thick compared to normal broth because after 10 hours of simmering, we suck the bones dry of any collagen. We'll clean it one more time and let's check on the pork cashew. Now, I love glazing, especially glazing food, and I know that this needs no glazing because it's glazing by itself. It's jigglier than your ex's ass, softer than the clouds, and the taste makes your brain go into total lockdown. This is the stuff dreams are made out of. There are not enough compliments that can be given to the Japanese for inventing such amazing food. Now for the plating, I'll quickly boil the noodles, and I recommend to not skimp out on them. Go buy the best stuff if you came so far with the recipe. Because I didn't have a steamer, I improvised something quickly and steamed the enoki mushrooms with the quinoa over boiling water, and surprisingly it worked. And now we'll strain the pork broth, making sure to squeeze everything to not lose liquid. Don't forget to take off the string from the cashew before cutting so your friends don't end up eating the string, and try to keep the slices as thin as possible. If you want to keep them thicker, the best way to serve them would be to torch the skin with the flame so it gets nice and crispy. No more glazing, but this looks just perfect. Also, the eggs were amazing, exactly how I wanted them, runny in the middle and completely solid whites, with an amazing color from the marination. Now for the plating, I'm sorry but I did not have any bowls here, so I had to use a deep plate. I know, but I promise I will remake this recipe and do a proper plating. We'll start with a nice scoop of the tare, then the pork broth, and for me, I put more tare because the broth was very concentrated in pork flavor. Now in go the noodles, the cashew, and the eggs. Last but not least, the enoki mushrooms, and if I had, I would also add some spring onion for freshness, but I forgot to buy it, to be fair. It happens to the best of us. And now, because ramen is nothing if not enjoyed with friends, a small review. Okay, so we'll go clockwise or counterclockwise. Phoebe? This shit good. Nikita?
This is real ramen. Good job.
Fedon?
That's a 10-hour good ass ramen.
And Axel.
Oh, good shit.
Thank you guys.